Good morning to you as well. I hope you're all doing well. Oh man, I'm 100% not awake. I am whatever the antithesis of awake is, but we'll take care of that. I've been up for a minute too. Been up for at least like half an hour, but it's like wakey wakey, eggs and bakey. Hello and good morning to you. Feel like someone hit your left Achilles tendon with a sledgehammer overnight? That can't be good. You must have slept with your foot all fucking weird or some shit. Must have like got your foot in a position where your Achilles tendon was like flexed all night. Thank you, Cloud Massacre, for the rainbow. There's many colors in the homo rainbow. Why don't you go and let your colors shine? There's many colors in the homo rainbow. I'll show you yours, you better show me mine. Do. Sometimes you just want to inject the caffeine right into your brain. I've really gotten to a point where I'm happy with my like caffeine consumption. I have 1 cup of coffee, usually 1 cup of coffee a day. And that is so much healthier and better than the way that I was back, just 7 or 8 years ago. I was literally running on coffee and fumes for about 5 years of my life, maybe longer. Making a song about load bearden. Cool. Happy Saturday. Well, thank you. I think tech reviewers will ever tell the truth, or are they all ads? They're mostly ads. I mean, the game of a tech reviewer is pretty easy. You give, mostly glowing positive reviews, and then these companies send you all their expensive shit for free, and you get to make money doing unboxing videos and sucking the dick of this product, that product, or the other product. So, yeah, I mean, I don't really trust reviews, period, on the internet anymore. I really don't understand why people do. I mean, I guess on Amazon there are ways, if you're purchasing like a slightly expensive product on Amazon, you can look at the customer reviews there and see which ones are from people who have verified purchases on it. And that can, let you know about any potential problems and shit. So they're not totally worthless, but the internet has made reviews and comments and ratings and shit almost completely and utterly worthless and useless. It's just like a monkey button now. It's like a little release valve button that isn't connected to anything that you can hammer on with your monkey paw. I complain. I leave comment. I do this, I downvote, I blah, blah, blah. It's just, you got no power. What products have you promoted that you actually really did enjoy, if any? So I did product promotions and stuff on DP quite often. That was part of how the money on DP was made, with mid-roll ads and stuff. And there was one, I'm trying to remember the name of the company. I still have a pair of their socks. There was some sock company that sent us a bunch of their socks, and none of the dudes wanted them. And I was like, dude, I'll take them. They sent like a pair of socks for each of us or something, but none of the guys actually wanted the socks. And so I took all the socks. And I still have like 2 pairs of those socks. They were pretty fucking dope socks, but I'll be goddamned if I can remember the name of the company that made them. No, neither of those sound familiar. They're not Darn Tough or Minooties or whatever. Can't remember the name. Like I said, it was fucking years ago. But I remember like trying those socks on and wearing them for a couple of days. Then we did the promotional like video for it. And that was one of the only times I ever participated in a promotional video where I was like genuinely promoting it, you know? Like, it's like, yeah, damn, these socks are pretty fucking dope. Was Moondies? Maybe. Have you ever used Razor's Edge database being asked for a job? What? I've never even heard of Razor's Edge database. You are a beautiful man. Fascinating stuff. Absolutely. MeUndies? I don't think it was MeUndies, dude. It was some sock only company that made a bunch of like nerdy socks with Darth Vader on them and then like normal socks, and they were like different material than your average sock is. It's hard to explain. I wear them still, like when I rotate through my socks and find them. Still got a pair. Socks and underwear are two things I don't cheap out on. That's probably a good idea. I mean, socks less so for me. Underwear, you gotta have good, you know, protection. You gotta have some lift to the underwear. You can't just have your balls swinging around in your pants all day, you know? You gotta put something in place that keeps them in a zone. So underwear are important. And yeah, if I had a coochie, I would probably want to make sure that there was a good set of underwear over that too, because you don't want that flapping around in the wind. You don't want like motes of dust flying up in there and shit. You know, you gotta get something over that cooch. If you compare this year's Samsung phone to last year's, it's worse in almost every way to sell for $200 less, but every review says you should trade in to upgrade. Yeah, which is why I said that I don't really follow reviews all that often. And if anything, I just use them as a guidepost. Like, if I'm ordering something, right, and it has nothing but negative reviews, or like 80% negative reviews, you can look through those, and sometimes people will even take pictures of the negativity. Like, here's what broke the first day. Here's how it came in the, you know, whatever. If you see a bunch of that, it's probably good to avoid that fucking product. You still have the ability to look, you know, at a product and get at least a little bit of feedback from people in certain places. But for the most part on the internet, that has been taken from you. You can't really use it as a guideline to buy things. You use it as part of your decision making. Hello, Lord of Duck. Good morning. Quack, quack. My ex had me rotate all of my wardrobe, but still got to keep all my DFF, DP shirts. Your ex had you rotate your wardrobe? What does that even mean, bro? Does that mean she told you how to throw away shit? Sounds like you're not in a relationship. Sounds like you're in a fucking dictatorship, bro. I just try to use many reviews to form my own opinion. You watch people long enough and you learn how they lean. I just take that into consideration. Sure, if you're smart about it, you know, you can make use of some of this quote unquote informational stuff that's being thrown out there that's really an advertisement. You can do it if you're smart enough. But you got to be smart about it. You got to look at multiple reviews. You got to look at alternate sites and shit. And you got to find out, to the best of your ability, what it is that you're buying. As many colors in the homo rainbow. Don't be afraid to let your colors shine. There's many colors in the homo rainbow. I'll show you yours and you're gonna show me mine. I have your Doomer hoodie, but I'm too shy to post a pic. That's cool. You don't have to post a pic. Thanks for getting the hoodie. I hope you like it. I really like my Doomer hoodie. Like, it took us a while to find a company that wasn't Teespring. But once we found a company that wasn't Teespring, the merch that we've been making is really, really fucking good. Teespring used to be really fucking decent back in the DP days for t-shirts and shit. Not no more. The quality standards and shit at Teespring have gone. Your Doomer hoodie reeks of weed. Good job. As well it should. As well it should. Considering pulling the trigger on a Doomer hoodie. Where can I buy it? If you go to any of the Deep Fat Fried public channels videos, the merch will be listed in the description there. And you can click the link and get your Doomer hoodie. The earth says shut up. A language older than words. But you know why I named this stream that? The earth says shut up. Because I saw a clip. I don't even remember under what context it was. But I saw that clip. Excuse me. I saw that clip of Tim Burton's Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Of stupid ass Johnny Depp going, "Hello, Starshine. The earth says hello." And I was just like, oh my God. Get it out of here. I don't know who posted it or something. It was posted as like a meme response. And I don't know why I clicked it. But then it was like stuck in my head. His stupid face and that stupid fucking costume and that shit delivery. "Hello, Starshine. The earth says hello." And I was just like, oh, fuck me. I woke up this morning and thought about it again, so. Willy Wonka, the amazing chocolatier. Oh, ugh. Get it out of here. All the fucking Oompa Loompa songs suck now in the new one. It's just a fucking ass adaptation. Charlie and the Chocolate was one of the DVDs my mom played over and over growing up. Yeah, I had it on VHS, but I used to watch it a lot when I was a kid too. It was in heavy rotation in my group of awesome fucking like 70s and 80s kids movies. There were a lot of really great movies for kids. Movies that had challenging themes that weren't just like cartoons bouncing all over the screen and shit. Like they used to actually make legit watchable movies for children. Charlie and the Chocolate Factory is a good example. Another fine example that I reference a lot in my personal life is the Neverending Story. It left an indelible mark on me when I was a kid. And a challenging movie too. Movies like The Secret of Nim and American Tail. These were movies that were made for kids, but that didn't shy away from frightening and adult themes from time to time. They were dark and awesome. Goonies, another good example of that. Fuck. This goddamn fucking nose. Leave me the fuck alone. Ugh. That one there. That was something special. Oh, God. Oof. Ugh. Oh. A little bit of booginess. God damn it. Oh, God. Horrible. I wish this on no person. I wouldn't wish fucking constant postnasal drips, sniffles, and allergies on any goddamn person ever. They suck. COVID. Just plain old fucking allergic to everything in the air and everything on the ground. The usual. Also, this exacerbates. Do I look like a person that cares what God thinks? Good pinhead quote there. You ever seen Disney's The Black Hole? Had never heard of it until recently. Apparently, it was their first PG movie and a colossal bomb. I thought it was cool. I actually haven't seen it. Heard of it, but I have not seen it. Have you ever seen anything from Richard Wolff and his democracy at work ideas? I have not. I have not seen. Nor have I heard. Are you going to review the Hellraiser HBO stuff? When it comes out, yes. I will give it a review. I feel like I have to. I've reviewed every Hellraiser property so far. So, going to have to do the HBO series. It's kind of like 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, but in space and with a black hole. Okay. I can dig it. Jesus wept. The original Tron is pretty dope, and I'm going to go out on a limb and give you a recommendation that a lot of people are probably going to scoff at. The original Tron is dope. You should watch it. Tron Legacy is actually worth your time. It's not as good as the original Tron, but the soundtrack on that movie and the visuals on that movie are dope, 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 dopey dope, 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 dope. It's not the greatest movie plot-wise and shit, but it's actually a good flick to sit down, turn your brain off, and enjoy the colors and the awesome sounds and shit. And the original Tron should be watched just because it's a good flick. Do you think theater movies are dead? I do. I think they're dying. I don't think they're necessarily dead. Saw Tron Legacy in 3D. It was the best 3D theater experience I had. I never got to see it in 3D. Agreed about both Trons. I could barely walk after I saw Legacy in the theater. It was so disorienting afterwards. Definitely like a heavily visual movie, and it's cool. Like I said, it doesn't really stack up all that well if you compare it directly to the original Tron. But as an audio-visual experience, it's worth doing. I think that, what you call it? What's that fucking band? I always forget their name. They wear masks. They're a techno band. They did Harder, Better, Faster, Stronger. Work it. Make it. Do it. Makes us... Daft Punk, thank you. Daft Punk did most of, if not all of the soundtrack, I believe, for Tron Legacy. Tron Legacy, so... There you go. Paft Dunk, yeah. I love that song. Work it, make it, do it, makes us harder, better, faster, stronger. I think I can do the whole thing. More than hour, never. Ever after work is over. Work it harder, make it better, work it faster, make it stronger, more than ever. Hour after hour, work is never over. Work it harder, make it better, do it faster, make it stronger. Good song. Hey, Dinor, come here. Come here. You're not going to do it today. It's not going to happen today. You're not going to be a jerk. So you're going inside. Get inside. More than hour, never. Ever after work is over. 365, interpret it sexually if you want. It's music after all. Oh, somebody's saying that's a sex song. I really don't think it is, but it could be. Vurin is correct, though. Music is meant to be interpreted by the listener. So whatever you take from a song is what you take from a song. Okay? What am I sipping? This is a cup of black coffee. This is my cup of coffee for the morning. I'm sipping on it now because it's starting to cool off. It's still good and warm, but it won't be for long. Paul, when you sang Pure Imagination in the video where you spoke to He Who Shall Not Be Named, it was magical. I like that song. You like the taste or just the drug effect of coffee? Both. I like the taste of coffee, and I like having a little caffeine to kind of spruce me awake in the morning, but I definitely don't ever want to get back to the point where I'm relying on coffee to operate, which now that I think about it, I did for years and years and years and years. At Starbucks, coffee, because you could get free coffee. So I would get there, I was an opener usually for most of my time at Starbucks. So I'd get there, get the store open, and before a customer pulled through, immediately make myself a triple shot of espresso, toss that back like a shot, and then kind of maintain that throughout the day by pulling myself another couple shots, drink them. Once I left that job, I started doing Monster energy drinks every day, multiples, the big tall. I was the lemonade, Monster lemonade shit. And I'd get 2 of those in the morning at a liquor store on my way to work. And I'd crack one as soon as I got in the car, along with a cigarette. And I'd like, just like I do out here, except with a fucking giant can of Monster Energy. And then about 2 hours into work, I would go get the other can and chug that. And then on my lunch break, if I needed another pick-me-up, right back to the store to get another Monster. Oh, fuck yeah, dude, I'd get the shakes. I went to the doctor one time, and they wanted to send me to the hospital. So this was one of the first incidents of syncope that I had. I was having a really tough time at work. I mean, it was always a tough time at that job. That job was just fucking go. And so my stress level was through the fucking roof. I wasn't sleeping at night because as a tech support person, you have like help requests and shit that will come in all throughout the night. And so our boss warned us, like, don't check your work email at night. It's not healthy to get into that way. But I started doing it. And so I would get off of work and I would go home and I would chill and relax for a couple hours, and then I'd get my work laptop out and look at the 15 fucking help requests that had come in as I'd been sitting there and be like, oh fuck. And I'd start trying to like plan out my day in my head. So I wouldn't sleep. I'd lay there awake all day thinking about all the shit I had to do. I'd get 2 hours of sleep, wake up, slam as much fucking caffeine as I could put into my body to get through the goddamn day. I was in that cycle. And I was driving from one work site to the other. And it was one of them days where I had just slammed like monsters. I was driving around and all of a sudden my vision started to black out. And I was like, oh, fuck. So I like pulled over to the side of the road and parked and did this shit. What the fuck? Whoa. It was the first time it had ever happened to me. So I thought I was dying. So I immediately called my doctor and was like, can you work me in? I gotta fucking come into the doctor. And they were able to get me in to see the doctor like in an hour or some shit. So I called my work and I was like, I gotta go home, sick or whatever the fuck. And then I went straight to the doctor. They took my blood pressure and they wanted to put me in the fucking hospital. It was so high. The combination of the stress, the constant stress, my natural propensity biologically for high blood pressure, and the fucking constant caffeine drip that I'd been existing on, and the lack of sleep. Like I was that close to having a full fucking mental breakdown, full physical breakdown. Crazy shit. And they immediately gave me some emergency like blood pressure medicine, and they were actually discussing, the doctor and the nurse were discussing having me checked in to the ICU, not the ICU, but having me go to the emergency room and check myself in for observation and shit. But while I was sitting there, my blood pressure dropped. And that was like the wake up call for me, that it's like, you can't do this shit no more. So I immediately, on the advice of that doctor, quit all caffeine, which was tough as fuck. And that helped a lot at my job. As it turns out, being a person with a natural propensity towards anxiety, caffeine was feeding that rather than helping it. It was giving me bursts of energy to get through my day, but some of that energy was being reserved by my brain to eat itself alive. And so when I stopped chugging caffeine like it was water, that got better. You want to get into the upper downer spiral. You don't want to get, I'm assuming you meant. I drank a 6-pack of Red Bull a night and felt the same way after a while. Oh, dude, totally burnt, man. If you've ever gotten to that point before in your life, you know what I'm talking about. And if you haven't, I hope you never do, honestly. I don't think it's something that anybody should experience. That feeling of like my body and mind will not fucking work. My body and mind are done. I have to stop. Like you can't know how scary that is and how shitty it is to exist on the ragged edge of that for weeks and weeks and months and months and months. It sucks. I know that feeling. I tried working 2 jobs where for 3 days out of the week, at best, I got 4 hours of sleep. I was so fried after a month of that, drinking 5-hour energy like it was water. Yep. That was my existence for a long fucking time, dude. Constant stress, constant worry, constant fucking work, constant pouring of substances into my body to medicate various fucking issues so that I can make my body work and my mind work and keep going to the job, keep making the money. It's an endless, inescapable cycle of self-abuse. And You know, I fully believe that I might be dead today had I kept doing the job that I had prior to this one. Like, I'm not trying to be hyperbolic, but had I continued down the road that I was on with the amount of fucking stress and bullshit that was going on in my life, on top of the bad marriage, I had no respite. I was a person that was on the ragged edge of a complete physical fucking breakdown, and it could have killed me. My blood pressure was insane, insanely high. You talk about a fucking embolism waiting to happen, a fucking, you know, brain bleed waiting to happen. That's how it happens, dude. That's what happens to people that have fucking super spiky high blood pressure, is like, you know, the walls of a fucking artery weaken and that bursts inside of your body and you are fucked. I was drinking Rain energy drinks every day. They have double the caffeine of those monsters. I had to stop, and I only use them 1 to 2 times a week. Yeah. Everybody loves the capitalism. Everybody wants the capitalism. Everyone loves the American dream. Do you know meth heads that were caffeine addicts too? The meth heads that I knew, if they were caffeine addicts, it wasn't that I noticed. If you've ever been around a meth head, you're not going to notice a little extra caffeine buzz that they've got. Maybe they were, but it's typically the meth that you notice. Weirdest place you've bought weed? In front of a Chuck E. Cheese in San Antonio, Texas. I've told that story before. That was the weirdest overall weed experience that I ever had in my entire fucking life. My friend's meth head dad's blood pressure is so high that whenever the cops try to arrest him, he just says he's having a heart attack and they send him to the hospital. I bet it works too. Yeah, there was I'm not going to go through the whole fucking way that I found the dude or whatever, but I used my stoner abilities to find a guy who knew a guy or whatever the fuck and get introduced to a dealer there. And I was given his number and told to text him, so I did. And he texted me back immediately with a bunch of fucking southern weed lingo. He was like, "I heard you want that loud." And I was like, "Huh? Loud?" That's just like, on the West Coast, we never called weed loud. That's a totally southern fucking thing. And I was like, "What? Loud? Oh yeah, the loud. Yeah, that's what I want." And so his whole setup was, "All right, man, I'll deal you some weed or whatever. Meet me out in front of this Chuck E. Cheese." And I was like, "A Chuck E. Cheese? Yeah, just park right there in front of the Chuck E. Cheese. We'll be there in like 20 minutes. I was like, fuck. Okay. So I went to the fucking Chuck E. Cheese, and you guys remember the rest of the story. But that is a very, very strange place to do a weed deal. And the strangest fucking weed deal that I've ever done. Well, I understand loud now. They call it loud because you can smell it from a mile away. It's like using audio terminology for the weed, right? So if weed is loud as fuck, that means you can smell it from a fucking mile away. You know what I mean? It's really dank, stinky, sticky weed. You open up the bag and, 3 minutes later, the fucking room smells like dank ass weed. That's what loud means, like noise. It's like, damn, that's some loud ass shit, because you can smell it from through the bag or whatever the fuck. That's where the lingo comes from. People have to work so many hours every week. They need drugs to keep them going. Capitalism has truly failed us. Well, if that's your metric, then capitalism failed us a long time ago. Next time, meet me at the opera performance backstage. Yeah. No, that whole fucking thing was just so bad, man. It was just such bad vibes around that whole fucking exchange. I sat there. Dude was late, of course. So I just texted him again, and I was like, hey, I'm here. And then he texted me back, we're on our way, which was an immediate, like, what do you mean we? He rolls up in this little red convertible with this big, yoked white dude in it. And the dude that I was talking to was an Asian dude. And he's driving this little red convertible thing. And this big, like, bald-headed, yoked white dude gets out of it, walks right over to my car and just opens it and sits in it. And I was like, what's up, dude? He's like, man, you want to inspect the merchandise? And he pulls the bag all out and shit. And he's like, just holding it up in my car. And I'm like, no, it's good. It's good. It looks like weed. I'm fine with it. You want to take a sniff? You know, I'm like, no. I can smell it through the bag. Smell it through the bag, baby. So we did the deal, and he got out of my car and left. I stashed the weed, like up under my seat or something, just in the little compartment thing under there. And was about to pull out. I look up in my fucking rearview mirror, and there's just a cop. San Antonio Police Department, just parked lengthwise behind the back of my car, and he's looking right at me. And I'm looking at him through my fucking rear view like, oh, I'm going to fucking jail. Great. So he sat there for an uncomfortable amount of time and then eventually pulled out. I was like, whew. So he went one way out of the parking lot, and I was like, fuck this. I'm going to go the long way up and around the Chuck E. Cheese and give him time to get the fuck up out of here. And so I did that, and what I should have done is follow the fucking guy. I should have went the same fucking way he went so that he would have to pull out before me and shit, but I didn't, you know. The brain wasn't thinking. So I went the long way around the Chuck E. Cheese and pulled up to the exit for the parking lot for the Chuck E. Cheese. The one exit onto the freeway I needed to get onto to get home, and he and I pulled up at the same fucking time. Literally like that. I was like... So I looked at him, and he's just standing there, like, looking at me. And I gave him the, like, polite, like, you can go, officer. I'm not, you know, you've clearly got officer business to do, so go right ahead. And he just sat there. And I was like... Pulled out onto the fucking freeway, or the frontage road that led to the freeway, and he pulled right in behind me. All close. And I was like, he's running my plates. I'm fucked. Gonna pull me over. So I'm doing the speed limit and shit, and he's right in behind me, and all of a sudden he lights up the whaler. Whoop! You know how they do that? They hit it once. Whoop, whoop. I was like, oh, here we go. And he pulls up next to me. Instead of staying in behind me like he wants to pull me over, he pulls up next to me, gets right parallel with me in the second lane, hits the whaler again, whoop, whoop, and then revs his engine and fucking takes off. And to me, the message was clear, you know? Like, I felt very relieved that I was given a white boy pass or whatever the fuck I got. But that's exactly what happened. You know what I mean? That cop was letting me know, like, don't be a stupid motherfucker. Don't be buying weed out in front of a Chuck E. Cheese again, California. Because I know that's exactly what happened. He ran my plates. They came back completely clean. I got no fucking criminal history or drug history or anything. And so he gave me that fucking whoop whoop as a warning, like, I'm going to let you go ahead and have your weed this time, but Don't let me see you out here again. That was the implication. Oh yeah. If I was a black dude, I'd have been gaffled up. I'd have been in the San Antonio County fucking jail that night waiting for Ashley to make bail. That's a good cop. Like I said, if I was a black dude, that would not have been a good cop. Thank you, white privilege. Indeed. In that instance, that's what I think got me through the day. Kind of weird in Minneapolis, we all just kind of smoke and sell weed publicly. Police seriously don't even care. Well, it's a little different down in the South. Whoop, whoop, that's the sound of the police. Whoop, whoop, don't buy drugs at Chuck E. Cheese. Yep, pretty much. So that's the one and only time that I used that dealer. And I wasn't about to fucking go meet him at the goddamn fucking Chuck E. Cheese next time. And I wasn't about to call him and explain to him that a cop whooped me up the last time I bought weed from him. It was clear to me that the cops were on to whatever he was fucking doing. You know what I mean? And we're building a fucking case or some shit. Because there's no way. You know what I mean? Just woke up to the stream. Hey. An anti-Amish bias. Was it good though, at least? Or I mean loud? It was aight. I will tell you this. Every bit of bud that I smoked while I lived in the South fit into that it's a category. I never got anything even close to tops or even like upper mids that you can get in a legal state. Nothing even close. I got lowers. I mean, it wasn't like unsmokable weed, but it was just, just like tiny little buds and a lot of shake and it's super dry and, you know what I mean? I like mids. Like mids is typically what I got. I did not get Mexican weed. Trust me. I grew up in California at a time when brick pack Mexican was sometimes the type of weed you got. Now I was lucky because in California, a lot of people grew. And so I smoked a lot of good weed when I was young, but you actually did come across times where people were dry on weed and they were selling brick pack Mexican fucking shit. I know that when I'm smoking it. It was not brick pack Mexican. It was just lowers. It was just whatever was left over, shake and fucking lowers and low-end mids from the fucking legal states. That's what I was getting. If you ever get weed with seeds in it, you've gotten banged out of some money. If you get weed and there's seeds in your weed, that means that weed has been allowed to pollinate and germinate, which means that the female plant stops creating THC. See, the THC is created when the female plant is looking for a male plant to pollinate it. And then once it's been pollinated, that THC production reduces and the quality of the weed goes down sharply. And the female plant starts dropping seeds. And if you open a bag of weed and you've got a bunch of little weed seeds in it, you're getting way fucking weak ass weed. So just a heads up, your weed should not have seeds in it. This is well known to people that grow weed. My brother found some seeds on a windowsill on a rental, planted them, and had some nice plants. Yeah. I mean, if you're a person that wants to set up a grow op, you can do that from buying some shitty weed and planting the seeds yourself, but you have to know what to do. You have to know how to tell a male plant from a female plant. You have to know how to fucking keep them separate so that the female clones fucking completely get dense with that sugary, crystally trichome shit. You want them to keep that, like, because that's part of the female plant's sexual expression, is producing tons and tons of this powdery, crystally stuff that coats the outside of the weed. The longer that plant goes without being fertilized, the more dense it gets. And so weed has to come from a female clone that's been denied the opportunity to drop seeds. If you get a bag of weed and it's got a seed in it, you're smoking weed that's about half as potent as it should be. Period, point blank.
Sloppy seconds weed.
Yeah, it's shit weed. And I will tell you this, I never got seedy weed in Texas. And only rarely did I get it in Louisiana. But I did get it. And that's just how you know, man. If you're a stoner at all, you need to know that about your weed. If you buy weed from any kind of place, whether it's a drug dealer or a fucking legal state going into a shop, and you fucking are picking through that shit and breaking it up and there's seeds in it, you got took. I don't know everything about it, stoned gentlemen. I know that the male plants and the female plants have to be kept separated. They cannot be allowed to pollinate. I don't know if male plants just naturally don't produce as much of the THC. I do know that the female plants are used almost exclusively in bud now. So I really don't understand. They produce a minimal amount. So people in chat might know better than I do. Male is just hemp. The male plants are probably grown mostly for hemp, I would imagine. And the female plant is the one that produces the super potent THC stuff. I don't mind getting seeds when it's lower price because of them, but my friend grows, so I get free weed for those seeds. Sure. Yeah, that's fine. I mean, I'm not telling you like how to conduct your business. I'm just letting you know that if you care about the quality of your weed at all, and you're buying bags of weed that at the end of it, you've got like a pile of fucking seeds, you just bought shit weed. You bought like really shit backdoor weed or backyard weed. Like some weed that somebody just planted a bunch of seeds and keeps a little garden, and the male plants and the female plants are just fucking away. And so it gets very minimal THC on it, and you're smoking a bunch of fucking just dry grass to get high, basically. You will still get high. It's still got THC in it, but you're going to go through it way faster than you would a more potent weed because you're going to have to smoke way more to get off. It's just bullshit. You don't want it.
I guess the male plants can be used to protect from pests. So like you can put them by your vegetables or something, and then put the females somewhere way over.
That's interesting. I think that's why a lot of people do these indoor grow ops, and it's very specific. It's not like something that people, like, nobody can learn how to do. And I don't know much about it. I walked into a small indoor grow op one time back in Cali in the old days when I was a teenager. And I saw what was going on in there, and I had it explained to me a little bit. And, I know very little, though. I don't want to sit here and pontificate any more than what I've already said. I know that the information that I've given you at this point is true. That if you get seeds in your weed, that you're getting really less, like half as potent weed or worse. I don't really know how that is manipulated in a grow op because I've never done it myself.
Just keep them separate.
Right. You need to know how to tell a male plant from a female plant, and then you need to separate them out as they're growing, keep the male plants if you want them or get rid of them, and just have an entire little grow op of female plants. And you want to keep them completely segregated from any ability to be pollinated, and let them sit and complete that, what I called earlier, which is probably the wrong terminology, but the sexual expression of that, like pre being fertilized thing. Like you have to, God damn this sun. Just a nightmare. Okay, that'll work for now. Growers cull the male plants. Yeah. Sorry, different topic. Were you ever a loner, Paul? And how did you cope, if so? I don't think I've ever really been a loner. I don't mean to leave you hanging as far as an answer, but I don't want to make up shit. And I really don't think at any point in my life I would describe myself as a loner. I guess the closest to a loner that I've ever been is probably now, because the amount that I socialize now is so much less. When I say socialize, I mean outside of my house. Amelia and I talk a lot, and you can't be a loner if you've got at least another person around you all the time. So that kind of precludes it. But, most of my life, I've been a very, very outwardly social person. Not all the time, but as a function of my personality. I was raised in a household that there was a community basically that raised me. I had a mom and a dad, but I had this really long list of people who I thought of and referred to as aunts and uncles, who were really just friends from my parents' work and fellow union members. And they, because they worked really hard jobs and could afford to let off some steam, partied a lot. And I grew up in that environment. And say what you want about how destructive it can be for a kid to grow up around a lot of drinking and shit. I had a lot of role models growing up, and they had their flaws, but I had a lot of people that I looked up to, and I grew up in a very social environment. My parents were, well, my mom was a social butterfly. My dad went along with it. And then, I kind of lived my life like that. In high school, I had a large group of friends. I actually had 2 different groups of friends that I would socialize with in different ways at different times. And then after I graduated, I had a pretty large group of friends that I would party with and drink with and smoke with. So yeah, no, I don't think I've ever been in a position where I would call myself a genuine, honest loner. So I don't really know. That why you're doing 2 of these a day? I mean, I've done 2 of these a day for a couple of days in a row now. I don't know if that'll hold out. I do these when I feel like doing these. But yeah, socializing is something that I enjoy doing. And it's something that I don't get to do. And when I'm talking about socializing, I mean socializing with a group of people. It's something that I really don't get to do anymore. And so doing these, it doesn't really fulfill that same need. It's sitting here and talking at you guys and reading some of your comments is not the same thing as chilling with a group of people. But it's definitely adjacent to that social need. I'm not saying it completely fulfills it or whatever the fuck, but it definitely scratches the itch, I guess. Well, COVID has nothing to do with this shit. Like, if you've been following this channel, you know that I've been doing these sometimes really regularly and predictably since the DP days. So we're talking like 5 going on 6 years now, if you count the Periscope streams where this really started. These have been a regular occurrence in my life for almost a decade. I mean, we're pushing a decade now. We're closer to a decade than 0 years, let's say. We're over the center hump. And it's all downhill from here to a decade. And, why I do these is a question that I find it hard to fucking answer, because sometimes these are very frustrating for me. I'm not trying to put that off on you guys. I choose to do these, so it's up to me to police my own fucking mental state and shit. But sometimes doing these is just like, instant regret, you know, when I start a show. I'll start one up and I'll just be like, but on the flip side, a lot of interesting questions get asked sometimes in these. And I'm given the springboard to talk about something that maybe I didn't think about talking about on my own. It's a question that digs deep into a part of my philosophy that lets me share a little bit of that with people in a way that maybe I never would have contextually. And I like that. I love that about this show. If you guys want to know the truth, I come here to be philosophically challenged as a main operational action for these. I want... Oh, thank you, baby.
Yeah.
Hold on. Let me take my crazy pills real quick. Down the hatch they go. Medication time, gentlemen. Medication time. Na 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 na. Your medication, Mr. McMurphy. What is this? It's your medication. Oh.
Where'd you go? Where's your boat?
I fucking love that movie. Is it cold today? Yes, but not as cold as it has been the last few days. We had a cold snap kind of blow through here. I'd say the last 4 or 5 days, really, it's been kind of unbearably cold. And today, it's brisk and chilly and cold out here, but not in the same way. It's definitely way more tolerable today than it has been, so I'm happy about that. I was in the chat yesterday and I was getting the strongest ban urges. Hey, it happens, man. Here's a question. Was that ping pong story supposed to be funny or was it anti-humor? A little bit of both. I think the whole idea is it's kind of an Andy Kaufman-esque joke, because the joke is at the expense of the audience. Because what you've done is wasted your time listening to somebody spin an hour or more long yarn. And then you get basically no payoff, and you're left with this fucking insane question in your head because you've heard about ping pong balls now for an hour, and you've been built up to have this burning question in your head. It's like, what is this kid's fucking plan with all these goddamn motherfucking ping pong balls? And then you just completely blue ball your audience and leave them with this. That's the joke. It's like, yeah, it's a very trollish question, but see, like when I'm on the receiving end of a joke like that, I find it to be so fucking funny.
Well, like,
your
delivery was really good all the way through.
Well, sure. That's the thing, is like that joke. I love that joke, not just because it's a troll job, but because it gives me an opportunity to really make the body of the joke fun and interesting and fun to watch and fun to listen to and fun to get engaged in, which only makes the payoff of the joke, or the anti-payoff, even more stinging, right? The more theatrical I am with it, the more invested I get the audience in it, the better the fucking payoff. I just want to know one thing. Even on your worst day, I find you force yourself to do these. Why is that? Because sometimes when I'm feeling at my worst, you guys get the best out of me. Sometimes when I'm feeling at my worst, the release of that, allowing myself to come out of whatever that mental fog or physical fog is, and pushing myself to engage in the world outside of my own pain, my own suffering, and all of that, helps me. So that's why I do these and push myself to do these on days where sometimes now there are days where I'm just like, fuck that. I'm gonna just sleep. or I'm just gonna rest today. But when I feel good, I do these. And when I feel really, really bad, I do these. Greetings, comrade. Here are some rupees. I remember from years ago in a video called Anger talking about that walrus fellow bread. Some rupees? You're giving me rupees for that? Well, thank you, comrade, I guess. I mean, I guess if you're going to drop a Brett reference, you paid for it, so I'll allow it.
And he said walrus instead of manatee.
Yeah,
so.
well, I think manatee is blocked.
Oh.
Dude, I put a bunch of fucking words on the block list after I left DP. It was ridiculous, the amount of repetition that was going on in the chat of just stupid fucking nonsense words. Rubles, not rupees. Have you seen the movie Vivarium? I watched Vivarium, but I was really tuned out when I watched it. I think somebody asked me about this a few weeks ago, and I gave them the same exact answer. So I can't really, like, I remember thinking like it was an interesting concept. I remember little tidbits of it, but I was really like, you have to understand, sometimes I get in this like state where, like Amelia has seen me in it, where I'm like, I'll have 2 or 3 things going at once. Like I'll be playing a video game, I'll have a movie playing. There are times where I'll have 2 different audio sources going on at once. This makes no sense to me. I'll start a video, right? And it'll be a long video. And then I will go and find something else that has audio visual stuff, like a movie. And I'll play that. And I'll adjust the volume levels so that I can hear both or one over the other. And I'll have that going while I'm playing a video game. I don't do that all the time, but that is something that I do. It's almost like, maybe it's like white noise.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like the cross chatter creates this white noise that's in the background that engages my brain, but not so much that it feeds more anxiety and allows me to enter this kind of internalized, meditative kind of almost state. But I've done that for the longest fucking time. And it's a weird little habit that I've developed, but I don't know. It doesn't harm me, and it seems to help me. My boyfriend does that, and he has severe ADHD. George Costanza, shut up. You're the resident court jester around here, George. And I'm about to throw some rotten fruit at you and have you hauled into the dungeon. Yeah, I watch videos while playing games. Same with sleeping. I gotta have some kind of audio to sleep. I sleep with audio pretty much every night. Usually like an audio book or a long video. I fell asleep for a long time to like depositions. There's something like calming about the back and forth nature of a deposition. And so I found these long depositions on YouTube that I really like, and I would fall asleep to them.
You just don't watch like shows or movies on your phone really at night.
No, well, anything that would engage me enough to where I would feel like I have to see how this ends or whatever. Like an audiobook, I can always go back to the last part I remember in an audiobook. It ain't hard. Same thing with like these depositions and shit. I can always just scrub forward a little bit and start at a different part of the deposition and fall asleep to it. But like with a movie or something, that doesn't work for me. My phone is creeping ever closer to the edge as I try and keep it out of the sun.
Just that umbrella got busted.
Yeah, that umbrella blew over and got fucked. It broke. Oh well. Can't really use it anymore. What are some of your favorite depositions? The one that I really fucking like is the deposition of Cleal Watts. You can find it on YouTube in its entirety. It is a deposition of this dude who was involved basically in this scam to get rich people to give him money so that he could buy gold cheaply in Africa and import it into the United States, refine it, and then sell it at a profit and take a little piece of that profit for himself. This was what he told the rich people he would do. And he basically faked a bunch of credentials. Like he told everybody he was a doctor. He wasn't. He told everybody that he was some kind of expert on the countries of Ghana, Sierra Leone, a couple of other West African countries when he wasn't. He had all these shady contacts that he was laundering these rich people's money through in Africa. One of them's name is Sheku Kande. There's a Sheku Kande and Sheku Touré that may or may not exist in Sierra Leone that are his contacts, where he funneled millions of dollars of people's money. And it's basically all just a big scam. He lives high on the hog while they've got money. He spends their money openly and freely to, subsidize his life. He's a dude that, despite being this great geologist slash mining expert slash this slash that, who has never filed a fucking W-2 in his life, you'll find out. He's never made more than $20,000 a year in his life and never had to file a W-2. Never filed taxes, has no tax history. There's no way to tell how his life is actually financed at all. So he's just a total fucking scam artist that goes to these kind of like vulnerable, here, I'm going to move. He goes to like these vulnerable old people that have a lot of money, and he uses his kind of like charm and shit, and he uses his ability to kind of use these big words, but in ways that don't make any sense. And it's like that old saying, a fool and his money are soon parted.
I'll block some more sun for you.
No, that's perfect, actually. Being on this side, the sun's hitting the back of the phone, so it's perfect. So you don't have to worry about getting all over hot. But, yeah. So that's what Cleal Watts, if you watch his deposition, is. And as you watch it, you'll learn that. I've actually watched the whole thing now several times because I fall asleep to it so often. But he's a fucking funny character. He's a real interesting person because he is just a straight up pathological liar. He cannot tell the truth because he's caught in this web of his own fucking making. Like, a pathological liar is an interesting person because they are a person who tells lies so frequently and so often that even they start to believe parts of the lie. They have to, in order to continue to tell it. And it becomes this false memory in their head almost. And they defend it and tell it almost like it's something that happened to them. It becomes like as natural as water for them to just lie. And so a number of times, if you watch the deposition of Cleal Watts, he's caught in a complete and utter fucking lie. And just the uncomfortability of watching him be faced with his own words and then faced with his own words again, contradicting that, is fucking insane because it's just like watching his brain short out. He's so used to talking to people and being in complete narcissistic control of the conversation that having somebody sitting across from him that opposes him, that not only matches him intellectually, but exceeds him.
Is it the same one where they have this like jockeying match over whether or not he can talk about a dream about Jesus?
No. That is, okay, so that's another deposition. That is a deposition of, what is he called? Apostle David Taylor. That's one that's broken up into different chunks on YouTube, and it's harder to find. I wish somebody would put it all together, smash it all together, and put it all up as one. But the deposition, the multi-day deposition of Apostle David Taylor, he is one of these prosperity gospel ministers who's running basically a giant scam church. And that's another example of a really riveting deposition. But I will tell you this, the lawyer in that deposition is way less skilled than the lawyer in the Cleal Watts deposition. The lawyer in that deposition she lets him get under her skin and shit. And so she starts acting kind of petty and bullshitty towards him in a way that she didn't. If she hadn't done it, he would have scored 0 points in this deposition. Even as it stands, with her overstepping that a little bit and being shitty and pissy with them at times when she could have just let that stand on the record and moved forward, the deposition is still like 90-1. You know what I mean? She gets 90 points and he gets 1.
That was the weirdest part to me, just the weird dream jockeying.
Well, she was digging down. What she was trying to do is dig down into his theology, because what he was accused of was he was being sued by somebody who gave him $1 million and then went bankrupt because of it. And there were multiple people who were suing him. And there was a tax investigation concurrently going on into his ministry and shit. So she was trying to dig down into his theology and nail down exactly what he was talking about and exactly what it was he was selling people. And he kept trying to say that some financial decision that he made was based on some dream he had where Jesus told him to take the money. And she was not going to let that be part of the deposition. She was like, your dreams are not admissible, you know. And so there's this. It's like a religious jockeying that goes on. She wants to dig down into his theology, but once he gets into it and starts using it as an excuse, she doesn't want to hear it anymore. It's a very interesting deposition. There's another deposition that I would recommend to you. The deposition of Buckeye Lake Sheriff Chief Hansey. His name is Jim Hansey. And he was a sheriff that was basically on the take for about 10 years. And this is less of a deposition and more of an internal affairs investigation. But it's conducted like a deposition. But it's not a lawyer giving the deposition. It is an internal affairs officer who knows this guy and has worked with him for years. Works in the adjacent county. They're friends, or at least, you know, cohorts there. And he's another one that's, you know, he's faced for the first time maybe in his life with the fact that he's a total fucking piece of shit. And he's been just getting away with it.
Are you talking about that small town one?
Yeah. He was the sheriff of this tiny little town, Buckeye Lake, which is in Ohio. It's this little mountain town with like a tiny little population. It's a village. And he's the sheriff of this. And he's got like 3 officers that work for him, or 4. And basically he was accused of stealing. So when they impound cars, I have to go into it to explain what he was accused of. So when you get your car impounded, every state is different, but there's a certain amount of time that if you don't get it out of impound, it transfers in ownership to that police department so that they can send it to a junkyard or auction it. You know, these police auctions that happen. So if it's a really nice car and they think that they can make some money for the police department with it, then after a certain amount of time, you don't pick the car up. It goes to auction or it goes to a junkyard.
And that includes stolen cars that are recovered, too.
Right. Stolen cars that are recovered, exactly. So there's a certain amount of time that the police office holds them, and then after that time is expired, nobody has claimed the car, then it goes to the junkyard or it goes to the auction, right? And so he was accused of stealing shit out of those cars, basically, for years, and letting his people that worked for him steal shit out of that car.
Like stripping them and shit.
Not stripping them, but just like taking like they would go and have a really nice truck. And it would go to Hawk or whatever, that like they had it now. The village owned it. And he would let people like take the water pump out of it and put it in their truck because they needed a new water pump.
Like stripping it.
So it wasn't like it wasn't like some big fucking criminal enterprise. It was just like, oh yeah, you can steal from that. You want some rims? Oh, you need some new tires for your truck, or you need a water pump, you need a jack and a spare. Just take it out of these cars. Which is totally fucking stealing. Totally unethical. That's one of the things he was accused of. The second thing he was accused of was writing himself in for hours where he wasn't at work. And he was caught fucking straight out red-handed with that shit. Red fucking handed. The dude had him so cold. I won't even spoil it for you. But go watch that one too. So those are 3 depositions that I really like to watch on YouTube. I've watched them multiple times. There's a lot of interesting psychological jockeying in those. And in all 3 of them, you get to see a habitual liar be faced with their own lies and try desperately to wriggle out of a cage of their own making. And that to me is just super interesting.
See the super chat?
Huh?
You see the super chat?
Oh yeah, Paul, haven't heard you speak for years, Paul, but this live stream is fire. Well, I'm glad you're back.
Stay back.
Stay back. Yeah, where were you? Thank you for the kind donation, by the way.
We're gonna cuff you.
Yeah, I'm gonna cuff you up. No, these are not always fire. I'll just warn you that. There's some of these, you know, whatever. But welcome back. Pop in every once in a while. We talk about fun shit. We have a good time. Sometimes I get salty and ban people. It happens, you know. It is what it is.
But you got a profile picture, so that's a good start.
You got a PFP, man. That's all you need.
And a non-troll name.
And a non-troll name. Look at you. Say what you want about Highdeology, but it's a lot better than TJ's live stream. Oh, Pondo Call. In here trying to fucking sow seeds of dissent. Look, dude, TJ's streams are fucking good. I watch TJ's streams sometimes.
He just does it very differently.
He has a different fucking style than I do, but I like watching TJ's streams. He gets crazy on them sometimes. The day is coming, you non-PFPs shall be purged. The purge. TJ smells. Maybe he does. I don't know. I will tell you this. The whole TJ smells meme, I have never been in a situation where I was sitting next to TJ or got a hug from TJ and got a nose full of just disgusting, unwashed nastiness. Now,
Also, I think he's been with Chelsea the whole time you've known him too, so that probably helps.
That's true. He started dating Chelsea right, living with her. Yeah. Like they were dating, I guess, a distance dating for a while, and then she had just moved in right when we met. And so yeah, he the way he tells it is that she came along and enforced some fucking hygiene protocols on him. But you know, like that being said, if you know, I know that there were times where TJ would wake up, not take a shower, not do anything, not brush his teeth, and spend like 2 or 3 days. And I would be around him, and I didn't smell this like aura of stench coming off of him. You know what I mean? So he's not an overtly stinky dude. I've been around people who, if they ain't showered that day,
he's not a super schvetty dude.
Yeah, TJ's not schvetty. And schvet is needed to make somebody real stinky. It's people that get schvetty, and then the schvet dries, and then they get schvetty again, and the schvet dries. They build up that, like, sour fucking smell that just, like, radiates. TJ ain't got that, you know? So the whole TJ stinks meme, I don't know. I think that TJ, like, I don't disbelieve the stories from TJ's childhood. And Scotty has told some stories about how dirty TJ was in childhood. He had to go to the doctor because they thought he had, like, a skin disease, and the doctor just took a rag, and it was just dirt on him. They thought he had mange or something, and they took him to the doctor, and the doctor just, like, took a washcloth and put it under the water and just rubbed it off his arm. He was just like...
Like, that must have had experience. It's like, this dude is just fucking dirty.
Yeah, he was like, yeah. It's like, this is just filth. Like, take a shower. You're cured. And I have no reason to disbelieve those stories, but TJ is far from that now. TJ's hygiene is perfectly acceptable for social situations. You know what I mean? Early TJ stories are crazy. They really are. I remember when Scott...
Poor mom.
Dude, their mom is one of the coolest people I've met, though. She's so unflappable. She has to be. She raised the two of them. You know what I mean? She's great. She's a person that has this wonderful confidence about her that just like radiates off of her that you can't help but like absorb a little bit of. She's a really sweet, good-hearted person, but very confident in herself and who she is and what she is and how she is. And I really love that in a person.
Very stoic between the two of them.
Yeah, yeah. She's great. She's wonderful. She's just like she's a really, I really like her a lot and appreciate all the time she helped me out too. She was like my mom away from mom when I moved to Louisiana and I was just fucking alone. I didn't, talk to her a ton, but she looked after me. She asked after me.
The best moment is like when you were doing the Prohibition episode and you were all drunk and she came over.
Oh yeah, dude, that was great. We were doing the Prohibition episode. We were drinking moonshine.
Yeah.
And she showed up and sat down, and I actually left the room because I was like, it was too good. The energy was too good. It was like their mom and them just reminiscing and shit, and I don't have those memories. And it was so awesome to go sit on the couch in that room and just laugh along with them and listen to that. That was so great. She's great, you know what I mean? Guys are lucky guys, man. They rolled high in the mom lottery. She's a great person. Their dad, Steve, is cool, too. He's a crazy Trump type of guy, but that doesn't preclude you from being a fucking, stand-up person. And he's a fun guy. He's funny as fuck. Steve's one of the funniest dudes, man. He and I have had smoke sessions where we just ended fucking, like, dying of laughter. He'll whip you up, man. He's one of those guys that'll get you going on something that you think is a little bit funny, and by the end of it, you're just fucking dying. It's a funny dude. And a good dude. He's a stand-up guy. Trump's now, that's a name I haven't heard in a while. Oh yeah, dude. Who Trump? Stevie the Forgotten Brother. No, I love Stevie, dude.
I mean, there might be a treat for Stevie lovers coming shortly.
True that. I made some content with Scotty and Stevie recently that I think we're just looking for a time to clean up and release. So, yeah, should be cool. But yeah, no, I love Stevie. Stevie is a genuinely good, sweet-hearted person, and that's a rarity these days.
I mean, like, he's a pretty big dude, but like when I met him, he was just like falling over, apologizing over shit.
Well, he's a teddy bear, dude. He's a big, lovable, fucking teddy bear of a dude. He's got a genuine good heart, and once again, I said that's a rare fucking thing to find these days, And he's funny too.
You want more coffee?
If there is some in there, yes, I will take a little scotch. I don't want a full cup though.
Yeah, well, like I'll do what I did last time.
Yeah.
Give us a half each.
That works for me. I'll take a little scotch.
Did you do it black this morning?
Yeah. He's so cool. He offered me to help you escape Georgia. That's cool. That's cool, Marshall. Yeah, it sounds like Stevie. He's a good guy. Who's Galen? TJ mentions him occasionally. I'm not privy to all the DFF lore. Galen is an old friend of TJ's, and an interesting speaker and kind of iconoclastic dude and a very controversial guy when he comes on the show. He has never been on DFF, but he appeared a couple of times on The Drunken Peasants. He's appeared a couple of times in stuff that TJ has done. So you can find some Galen content out there if you really want. He's got his own channel, Halcyon, if you want to look at his stuff, but a lot of that's very, very old. So Galen is a time wizard who has eaten infinite fillets. Yes. To filet Galen. Thank you, baby. Those carts be hitting different. I mean, they do, yes. Dim do. Has his health gotten any better? Unfortunately, the last time I heard an update, it doesn't sound like it really has. Galen has had pretty bad health problems for a long time, and
Well, it's like back shit, right?
it's a lot of shit. He's got neck shit going on. He's got neurological shit going on. He's got damage from car accidents that he was in. He's got nerve damage. He's got a lot of fucking comorbid problems. And unfortunately, anytime I get an update on Galen's health, it's usually not a good update. Now, maybe I'm wrong. I really hope I am. I hope he has gotten better in some way, shape, or form. But, his health has been bad for a while. And I always wish him the best. What exactly medically is wrong with Galen, and why can't he be cured? I don't know. You'd have to ask Galen.
I don't know if he knows.
Like, that's the thing, yeah. I don't know if Galen has been properly diagnosed. You have to talk to Galen about it. I don't understand in detail all of Galen's medical shit. So... I really don't. Galen seems to be one of those unlucky people who just get everything. I mean, he doesn't have everything, but yeah, I would say medically he rolled low. It sucks. What are you gonna do? Apparently not getting better, but it's probably not our business. I mean, it is what it is, man. He's not a super public guy, but, he keeps a public presence and stuff. And I don't talk to him all that often, but I do talk to him. We need somebody to invent a cart that hits more like a dab rig. Whatever, dude. It just seems to me that most people are healthy, but some people, man, when it rains for them, it pours. Yeah, I mean, it can happen to anybody, too. I mean, normally hale and hearty people that are normally really good health, sometimes their health just fails catastrophically. They get something or something happens internally and it just... And then sometimes people who seem like they're on the sicklier end of things end up living longer. It's hard to tell. It's just like you can't predict your day.
Yeah, well, it's like my stepdad got idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis, which idiopathic means that there's no known cause and it just hit him randomly.
Right. Wasn't he in the military?
Yeah, so there was like
Was he in?
Might have been asbestos when he was like stalking.
Yeah.
He was like more of a stalker, but they couldn't prove it, so the VA didn't cover it. So he had to get a double lung transplant like a year after my youngest sister was born.
It's fucking crazy. Yep. I mean, the medical profession has diagnosed and been able to treat a lot of things, but sometimes shit just happens. And medicine doesn't quite understand, hence what Amelia just talked about, idiopathic diseases, where the cause is just question mark. For question mark reason, this organ stopped functioning. How do you treat that? That's what I mean. Like, how do you get out in front of something that you don't know exists because it's completely idiopathic? You can't trace it. Or are we talking about Cody Weber in the chat? Nix it or get nixed? Next. I haven't thought of or looked at anything by Cody Weber in a very long time, dude. So nix it or get nixed. Be done with it. Move on. Bone cancer got one of my bosses out of the blue. I mean, it's crazy, dude. That's like I said. You never do know. That's why you should laugh like no one's listening, or whatever it is. What is it? Laugh like no one can hear you.
Yeah.
Dance like no one's watching. And live like, what is it? How's it go? Oh yeah, live like it's your last day on earth. There you go. Put that on a plaque and hang it up in your pooper. That's where I've seen that kind of thing before, is like you go into people's bathrooms and they've got like a little saying in there.
I think like when you did the balls, it was like there were like 3 people that they got like testicular cancer like that one ball.
Yeah, it's fucking crazy. That's why I checked. And dude, I'm telling you, that was like a PSA I was shown in school, where if it hadn't been shown to me, I would not check my nuts like that. Nobody ever would have told me, and there'd be no way that I had that instilled in me to do that. And so sometimes it does work. Like, we're all cynical about, like, hey, you can't just sit a kid down and show him a video. That doesn't work. It's like, for some things it does. Because for me, like, I don't check every time I shower, but at least once or twice a week, when I'm down there washing myself, I check my nuts to make sure there's no weirdness going on, you know? Make sure there's no lumps or extra fucking shit happening down there. One of them's not, like, getting bigger for no reason. You know, I know the size of my balls, and if they fluctuate, I'll know, you know? I don't mean to be, you know,
I don't know about
descriptive
Nixon.
about it, but you gotta
I don't know
know.
about Nixon being the last pill-popping president.
No, he's not. Yeah, make sure there's no extra nuts, yeah. You gotta know your balls, man. You gotta check them shits. You gotta check them shits. Pimp Monk's balls, though. Hey, he's got
You've always had 3, then you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, he's got the triple testy. He was born with the triple testy, and that's fine. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Got an extra set. He got an extra piece of equipment working away in there. That's fine, but he knows that. So he knows he just has to learn the topography of 3 balls instead of just 2. See, for me, it's broken down into lefty and righty. Lefty is bigger than righty. That's always been the case. And that's it. You know, they stay that way. Repsian took those hits like a champ. Didn't expect him to. What hits?
The Wheel of Torture.
Why are we talking about fucking Wheel of Torture? What about this conversation that we're having invoked the fucking show from 10 years ago? Can you fill me in? What are we talking about here? Because I invoked Pimp Monk? No Order 66 necessary yet.
It's been nipped in the bud. Hopefully.
It's been nipped. Jesus Christ. It's like I'm playing poker with my sister's kids or something. You crazy making bastards.
Some people come in with like one purpose. I'm going to tell Paul about this, no matter how out of context it is.
Yep. This is my agenda for the show. This is my agenda for the show. Hey Paul. Hey Paul. Hey Paul. Hey Paul. Hey Paul. Have you ever gone camping? Yes, I've gone camping multiple times. Different types of camping, too. Mostly, though, when I was younger. It's been a very long time since I've been camping. I actually want to do some camping. It'd be kind of nice. Hey, Paul, do you remember? Yes, I remember. You a fan of winter camping? I've never camped in hard, dead-ass, fucking snowy-ass winter, so I can't tell you. I've camped towards the end of winter. Like, I've done a lot of spring camping where there's still a lot of snow sticking. But I have not done dead-ass, deep of winter type camping, so.
It's like military drills. It's like, let's go on a snowy mountaintop and
I've just never done it.
Survive.
Yeah, I've never done that, so I can't speak to that. I've done a lot of summer camping and a lot of fucking spring camping. Who would winter camp? I don't know.
Dinor!
Put him back in.
Yeah.
This is the second time he's
Come
done
on.
it today. Come on.
Come on. Too much.
You're not going to get to sit out here with us anymore if this is the way you're going to be. In the morning, you're going to come out here and poop, and then you're just inside. I'm sick of it, dude. Ugh. Bad Dinore. So explosive. Like, I don't know if it comes across to you guys like that, but half of my fucking exasperation with him doing that shit is empathy for the people that are walking by that don't need to be yapped at by a dog. And the other half of it is just like, it fucking startles me. I've lived with that dog now for 5 years. And when he explodes like that, it's still, I have this moment of like, ugh. I don't know how it comes across on you guys' end, but let me just tell you, when you're in the presence of it, it is so unnecessary and unwelcome. And it's the one thing that he does that I wish that I could fucking train him against. But he's so locked into it. And it's so ingrained in his breed and shit that it's hard to fucking, I don't know the right way to get him to stop doing it. I will not put a fucking shock collar on him. I refuse. We tried one of those vibration collars with Dinor, and let me tell you how that worked out. You know those collars that like they're supposed to do like bzzz when they bark, and that's supposed to keep the dog from barking, right? So he was doing it so much when we lived in the tinderbox with all the other dogs. Every person, we lived in a neighborhood that was way more busy than this one. Every person that would walk by the front of the house, he would, and then every fucking dog in the house, you know, and he would set it off. And so we got him this collar. I refuse to put a shock collar on an animal. And if you do it, you should stop doing it. Put one on and bark and tell me you don't think that's cruel to an animal. I tried on this vibration collar and it felt weird, but I was like, okay, this is not going to put him in pain. So here's what it would happen. We put that vibration collar on Dinor, right? Somebody would walk by the front, walking their dog or something. Thank you, Andrew, for the $10. Appreciate it. Somebody would walk by the house. He would go, "Brr!" And you could hear it. It would go, like a phone that's on silent. And he would go like, "Brr!
You liked it.
That he didn't stop him. So I was just like, they put it on him for like a month. I wanted to take it off him after a week. I was like, he ain't gonna get it. But the girls in the house were determined. They were like, no, he'll get it. But at a month, I called it. I was like, throw that fucking thing away. It's worthless. It's worthless, and it looks like it's like just uncomfortable for him to wear because it's a big chunk of shit that he has on his neck. Just take it off. That's why I like rabbits and rodents, but they eat all your stuff. I mean, whatever. I love Dinor. It is his one habit that drives me up a fucking wall. He's got a lot of little weird idiosyncrasies, like pulling the blankets off of you and trying to, that type of stuff. And that stuff doesn't get to me in the same way that bark does. That barking is the one thing that I would have him stop doing. All his other little quirks, I love about him, actually. It's part of living with Dinor. But that shit, and that's a breed thing. He's a Shih Tzu. He's got hound in him. These are dogs that were bred to be guard dogs. They were bred to alert when somebody approached your fucking residence. And so it's like, how do you get him to go against his nature and still let him enjoy all this out here? And my answer to that is, I want to find a place that's completely private.
Oh no, we tried the coin jar.
Oh, dude, trust me. I had what's called the naughty jar. And this actually worked. I had a pair of dogs when I was married and lived in California before I left my marriage, Yoshi and Koopa. I think I've talked about them with you guys. And they were barkers when we first got them. And what I did was I made the naughty jar, which was just, fistfuls of change that I had in my pocket. And we got like a jar about halfway full of pennies and nickels and dimes. And just like, you shake, like when they bark, you just, and they go, that worked with those dogs. It got to the point where I could keep that naughty jar by me and they were starting to make noise and I could tell them they were winding up to bark and I would go, hey, And I would just touch that naughty jar, just touch it, just like, and they would go. And it worked for them. It was like, it was a good fucking way to mitigate it. I tried it with this motherfucker. It's like he doesn't hear it. When he goes off, you shake the naughty jar at him, it just encourages, he just turns around and goes, what the fuck is your problem? You know what I mean? Goes right back to barking. It doesn't work. He's got an insane alert drive, or whatever they call it. And, you know, it's just something about him that's always been that way.
He's just territorial.
He is. And there are ways that I could do it. If you and I wanted to break him of barking at people, here's how we would have to do
You
it.
have to treat him like every time.
One of us would have to stay inside with him. The other one, walk up to the door, ring the doorbell. If he barks, say no. And then wait like a minute, come back and do it. The first time he doesn't bark, treat him, and oh God, yes, you're such a good boy. Slowly but surely, treating the times that he doesn't immediately explode into barking. That would do the doorbell thing. Then we would have to do the same thing with this type of shit. We would have to have my mom come over, somebody he doesn't immediately recognize. We would have to have somebody come visit, to have TJ come by and fucking walk by a bunch of times. And when he didn't bark, treat. When he does bark, no treat. And scolding. No, quiet. If we did that over and over again for weeks or months, we might be able to intercede in his bark drive a little bit, but that's what it would take. That's really and training a dog is a tough fucking thing too. People think it's fucking easy. It's not. He has to be, yes, exactly. He has to be conditionally trained. He has to be conditioned to associate silence when he felt like he wanted to alert with treating. It's like Pavlovian, right? You're trying to make an association in his little doggy brain that when I alert, when somebody rings that bell, I don't get treat. But when I don't alert, I get treat. And eventually you don't even have to give him the treat. It's just a learned behavior for him. And that's where you want to get. So you don't want to be in a position where every time the goddamn doorbell rings, you treat your dog. So, but once you've made that mental association, you can slowly but surely remove the treating until it's just not a part of his day. And now his natural instinct is to be quiet when somebody rings the doorbell. It's like long-form psychological training and manipulation of the dog. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing. It's also how I got Dinor to stay near us, to basically be good about coming when we call. He's not super, super good about it when he's back here in the yard, but Dinor is not the type of dog that's going to go run off and disappear and not come when you call. He gets a certain distance from you and he notices and he comes back. That took training. All the little tricks he knows. Chelsea taught him a lot of those, the harder ones, the show me your belly and shake and shit. That was all Chelsea. We taught him to sit, lay down, stay. A lot of that was Ashley, honestly. But he was worked with by me, Ashley, Chelsea, a lot with those tricks. You have to train dogs to love you? No. A dog will love you if you take a dog into your house and feed that dog and keep that dog warm from the elements and shit. Like, dogs love pretty unconditionally the people that take care of them. But what they do, their behaviors, people are often think like that behavior is that dog's fault. And that's why people will hurt their dogs. And I don't condone that shit. But that's how it gets to that point, is people think that this dog is defying me. No. You didn't do the right thing by that dog. You either got a dog that has so much fucking energy naturally as a breed, and you're not letting it out, and it's expressing that energy by being destructive, by having separation anxiety and shit like that, where they get destructive and chew shit. And that's on you. You brought this beast into your house. You didn't do your homework on what kind of exercise this beast needed to keep a level fucking head about him. And that's it. Never hurt your dog. Never slap your dog in a way that hurts them. When I hit Dinor, I tap him on his butt. I'm like, hey, I never hurt my dog. I never. Mm-mm. People that do that shit, there's a special circle in hell for them. Because they're beating that dog for something they failed at.
Yeah. Another mistake people make is punishing like way after the fact.
So here's another thing you never do to your dog. And this is like some kind of like common, listen to him in there. Still doing it. What are you barking about? Quiet. Always got to pipe in. What was I going to say now?
About like punishing after the fact.
Oh, yeah. So they say like, oh, if your dog shits in the house, rub their face in it. It's not how dog brains work, guys. If you don't catch that dog actually squatting and shitting out and scold them while they're doing it, they never make the association that what they did was wrong. And so what you've done is taken a dog and shoved its face in shit, and it has no idea why.
The cricket was zooming this morning.
Paul, do you believe in hitting kids? I don't. It took me a while to come to that position because I was raised at a time when capital punishment was normalized, and I was beaten as a kid. And
I think it's corporal punishment, not capital punishment.
yeah, corporal. I always get those mixed up. Capital punishment. Boy, you done fucked up. Dad, no. No, corporal. Yeah. I mean, corporal. But yeah, no. Anyways, to get back on the topic, corporal punishment was very normalized when I was a child. Less so than it was in the decades preceding the one I was born in. People were starting during the late 70s and early 80s to question the wisdom of slapping and beating and whipping children.
Because I bet it was like even teachers would do it in school.
Oh, before my time, yeah. In the 70s and especially in the 60s and 50s, teachers would wrap your knuckles with a ruler at school. They would take small children over their knees and beat them. This was common in school before my time. I can't credibly claim to have lived during that time. But what hadn't become completely taboo yet was parents beating on their children. It was thought that you had to intercede with pain in a child in order to create some kind of an associate. It was like training a dog, but it doesn't work with dogs either. When you beat dogs, they get mean or they get skittish and defensive. They don't, and the same thing kind of happens to children. The worse abuse that they go through, a lot of children that are beaten when they're children go on to beat their children. And a lot of children that are beaten go on to have profound social anxieties and fears, profound mental problems. And so the studies are in on corporal punishment. It is a destructive force in the life of a child. And, it hasn't been like last week or something that I came to this realization, but it was a number of years ago, 7 or 8 years ago, that I stopped defending the beatings that I took as a kid because they were infrequent. My grandma is left-handed, so the nuns would slap the shit out of her hands if she tried to write with her left. Yeah, that was common. Homer Simpson's... Well, there's a difference between what I'm talking about, Jason, and like swatting a kid's butt to get their attention. Like, I'm not talking about like being in the store and a kid's acting up and you spank them on the butt a little bit and go, hey, be quiet. But it's not to threaten, hey, I'm going to beat you harder. As an attention grabbing device, I don't got a problem with people that pat their kids on the ass and be like, hey, what I went through was not a swat on the butt to get my attention in the fucking grocery store. What I went through was I had a leather belt taken to me. Okay?
When I was in Indiana, there was a lot of like hand slapping.
Oh, like, no. that type of shit, whatever. I wouldn't do it to my children, but I don't think that's the problem. Maybe it's a gradient of the problem, though. Maybe that becomes this. I don't know. My dad would threaten such crazy acts of violence. It was insane. My dad would implicitly threaten acts of violence against me. He told me numerous times when I was growing up. It was usually after or before I was about to get a real beating. So but he told me numerous times when I was growing up, he would say to me, do you know why I make you go to your room and wait before I come in? And I'd say no. And he'd say, because if I went in right away, I'd probably kill you. I have to calm down. What do you think about that? How you like them apples? Thanks, Dad. Glad to know that you were close to murdering me because I dented your trumpet or whatever the fuck.
BB, I don't know if like spanking the kid because they went into traffic is the way to go.
No.
I think one way I've heard is just like telling them it's like I would be so sad if you died or something.
You explain to them what could happen to their bodies. You tell them you will be crushed by a car. And if they don't understand what that means, you explain it to them. What would happen if this car rolled over you and how sad I would be if that happened to you. How sad would you be if I ran out and was playing in the street and a car ran over and crushed me and I was gone forever? That's infinitely a better thing to instill in your child than slapping them around because they went in the fucking street. If you have to, show them a picture of a car accident. Yeah. That's what my dad said. If you die, that's it. No crying, no scrape on the knee, you die. Yep. That's terrible. Why would you show them pictures?
Well, like if they're really like language undeveloped, I guess.
If they're language undeveloped, or if they have repeatedly continued to do the dangerous act despite you telling them.
And probably the best example I could think of that's not horrible is like watching Pet Cemetery or something.
Yeah, that's true. Pascal. Old school fan dropping in. How are you doing these days, Paul? Doing good, Rob. You're the second old school fan to pipe up in the chat today that's popped back in. I'm glad to see some of you were coming by to say hello to me after a while.
Up in suggestions.
Maybe. Who knows, dude? Maybe my insane drilling of these has done some good. I don't know, but I'm glad to see you, man. It's been a long time. You've got a lot of catching up to do, but it's still me. I'm still here. It's still crazy. I'm a literal old school fan. It's nice to meet you. Cool. I mean, I can get the point of instilling your kid why they shouldn't play in the street or being reckless through those means. We had those insane PSA commercials about smoking and DUI. Yeah, of course. And I just got done talking about how watching a video made me way less likely to die of testicular cancer because I checked my balls, because when I was a fucking teenager, I was forced to watch a video about testicular cancer and how you should check for it. And as cringy as I thought that was, and as much as we made fun of it, guess what happened? I checked my nuts that night. And pretty much every time I shower since then, I'd give my fucking boys a once over. It's like
cancer at like 30.
Yeah. I mean, some people get it real young. Dudes in their 20s will get it. It's like, I know, I check on the boys.
All right, Jason, just chill.
Yeah, chill the fuck out, Jason. Like, why are you, like, Why are you coming in here and making it the fucking Jason show again? Quit trolling, you bastard. Quit being an edgelord, man.
Yeah, you have a condition wrench.
Yep. Jason! Jason! Oh, Jason. When will ye learn?
Jason is Zine Thomas, for anyone that's
Yes.
not initiated.
Yep. That's Jason. Jason! He called me a drooling mental case. Oh, Jason.
Y'all chill.
Yeah. Quit fighting.
All y'all.
Everybody settle down now. No squabbling amongst the ranks. Jason, you keep your fucking mouth shut. Hey, you calm down. Calmer than you are, dude. Waving a fucking gun around? Calmer than you are. Drippy ass fucking nose, man. We're good. Yeah, no.
Yeah, the 2 ats rule, Darren McLeod.
Yep.
2 ats.
2 ats and it's over. Them's the rules.
Yep. And when that happens, I'll time out both people.
Yep. If you're going on like a little side conversation in the chat, just don't. 2 ats and it's over. That's the way it works. Walter pissed me off in that scene. Hate that gaslighty crap. Whatever. Take it to the DMs, baby. You may have moved, but don't you live in a really hot place? How do you have such long hair? Well, I don't know what leads you to believe I live in a really hot place when
You
I'm.
wouldn't be bundled up like
Yeah,
that.
why am I bundled up if I live in a really hot place? And number 2, I lived in fucking Louisiana for the last 2 years while my hair was growing out.
Dude, that
That's-
conditions you.
Yeah, I know how to put my hair up in a fucking ponytail and shit and keep it off my neck and not be hot.
Like, probably by my 2nd summer in Louisiana, I stopped schvetting outside.
Yep. You acclimate to that shit. Your first summer in Louisiana is always brutal. Because most people have never lived in anything that humid and hot before in their lives. And it's like, my first summer in Louisiana, I wanted to leave so bad. I wanted to leave so bad most of the time I was in Louisiana. But that first summer, I wanted to just turn around on my heel and leave. I was like, this is unbearable. I would walk outside and instantly just be schvet. Head to toe, pit rings, the whole fucking kit and caboodle. Horrible. Oh, man. That's the kind of weather that makes you crave a nice cold-ass pool, yeah. But even a pool doesn't help in fucking super muggy-ass weather.
Then you come out, and
Yep.
it's worse.
Oh, gotta do my stretches. Oh, shit. Oh shit. Oh shit. Oh shit. Oof. Dizzy. Super dizzy.
Can you help?
No, I'm okay. I'm gonna sit down though. Woof. Woof. I held that like bending at the waist stretch too long and then stood up too fast. Woof.
You too high?
No. Just dizzy. It happens. sitting here all cold as fuck. What it do? Paul, can we talk about greyhounds, please? No. Wheels on the bus go round and round, round and round. All right. Well, I think I'm done. Have a good day. See you next time. Bye.